All right, it's time to go ahead and break down our first slate of bowl games for the season. I'm pumped about this. We're going to go ahead and get it started with the Veterans Bowl. Troy takes on Jacksonville State. I'm taking Jacksonville State in this one, 31 to 23. I've liked what I've seen from Jacksonville State. They obviously choked their conference championship game to Kennesaw State. I thought they played well in the fourth quarter after a slow start. They've looked great all season. Cam Cook has been a stud. That football team has been honestly one of the more consistent teams in their conference the past 2 years after moving up to FBS Division One. I like Troy. They're a solid team. Goose Crowder's been playing better as the weeks have gone on, but I just don't think their defense can carry them to a win here. I think Jacksonville State is going to run the ball very well in this game with the quarterback, and I think they're going to be able to open up the passing game via the quarterback and running back run game that they've got going with Cam Cook. And I think they take a relatively close win here.
I think Troy's defense actually is going to have enough to win this game. They played pretty well against James Madison, and Jacksonville State's offense kind of worries me. They were just shut down by Kennesaw State for 3 quarters in that game. They're limited through the air, so that worries me, especially against a defense like Troy's. So I'm going to stick with the stronger defense here and take Troy.
Yeah,
24-21 is my score.
I think we differ on a lot of these very close games. Like you've got teams that some of them are from the same conference, some of them aren't, but they've crossed paths in recent years or they've had some opt outs and you really know what's going to happen, like what the trend's going to be now. Like you've seen them play, but you don't really know where they're at now. Bowl games are just weird right now. They've always been strange. You never know who's going to show up, but now more than ever, I think it's hard to pick these games. So you're going to see us differ on a lot of these bowl picks, at least the teams that are clearly um, not big point spread favorites. I think that we'll be differing on several picks moving forward for the bowl season as we go on. Next game we've got is Old Dominion taking on USF in the Cure Bowl. I have USF pulling off a close win here, 31 to 30. Unfortunately, my glorious king Byron Brown will be opting out of this football game, and he is going to be coaching on the sidelines for the Bulls. I think that alone still gives them a slight advantage, just given that Byron Brown is a genius and an absolute beast of an athlete. Colton Joseph also looks like he's going to be opting out of this football game for Old Dominion. He's an incredible dual threat quarterback. And I think that not having either of these guys in this game is frustrating. It sucks, but I understand. I used to not really understand why guys opted out of bowl games, but you think about that signing bonus if you end up getting drafted. If you're a guy who hasn't made a ton of money in college football, how could you say, all right, I'm going to go play in the bowl game? Peace. Oh, wait, yeah, I really want to play in the Cure Bowl this year. I'm going to make sure I go out there and give it everything I've got. I just have a hard time thinking about my future like that and making a decision based off that. One of the only quarterbacks in recent memory that I could think of that actually chose to play in their bowl game with a really good draft stock and got hurt was Matt Corral. He got hurt against Baylor in the Sugar Bowl on like the second drive of the game. And it didn't tank his draft stock, but it was the difference in probably a round and a half to a round, which is a lot of money. So I think that that's just a lot of character in guys who do choose to play. It says a lot about who they are and what they stand for. It also shows that it's not about the money. That or they already have made a lot of money. So that's something to consider here. Is you've got two star quarterbacks, possibly Colton Joseph entering the portal, Byron Brown most likely getting ready for either the draft or the XFL draft or USFL draft, as we're at now with the merger of the two different leagues. I think Byron Brown, wherever he ends up, is going to get utilized for his athleticism. I'm sad that I don't get to watch him play again, but he's a stud. USF as a whole, I think is just a better team here. That's why I have them winning. It's going to be close. I like their defense. I like what they've got on offense, their skill positions. They've got a lot of good players. I don't know what Old Dominion can do without Colton Joseph. You could say the same thing about USF, but I just think that Colton Joseph was the nucleus of that football team, and there's not a lot of guys around him that really scream takeover player to me. So I'm going to take USF.
My feel for this game is not great with the quarterbacks being out, but like as you were saying, USF has the more talented roster, so I'm also going to go with them 31-28.
Yeah, I think we're pretty close on that one. The line dropped 8 points, I think, as soon as they announced that Byron Brown was out. So expecting this to be close, but you never know. When two of the best players in the entire group of five decide to opt out and then their teams play each other, you could get two completely different football teams. So who knows what's going to happen? Should be an interesting one. We do have coaching departures on the USF side. Brian Hartline has been hired as their new head coach. They lose Alex Golish to Auburn in a really interesting turn of events there. I think that makes a slight impact on this game too. So USF losing some coaches, gaining a coach in Byron Brown on the sidelines, but losing a star quarterback. So should be a one to watch for sure. Next we've got UL Lafayette taking on Delaware in the 68 Ventures Bowl. I've been watching Delaware all season, just considering the fact that this is their first year in the FBS. I've been rooting for this football team. The fact that they made it to a bowl game is extremely impressive. I like Nick Minicucci. I think he's an incredible quarterback, and as Landon corrected me, it is not Minucci. It is Minicucci. And I really want Delaware to pull off a win here and get their first bowl win as an FBS team on the back of Nick Minicucci. He's been playing out of his mind late in the season. Um, Subtly threw for over 3,000 yards this season. First year in the FBS, UL Lafayette's been up and down. I don't trust Lunch to take the W here, unfortunately, even though his name is hilarious. I don't think that that equates all to skill.
So in the preseason, I actually predicted Delaware to go 6-6, which a lot of people didn't. A lot of people just wrote off Delaware and Missouri State, who we're going to talk about in a minute, as going like 3-9, 2-10 as being new FBS teams. But they both performed well. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to ride with Louisiana in this game, though. Both these teams are not great. They really benefited off easy schedules, but Louisiana's been here. Delaware, brand new, and this is a tough spot. I think they certainly could win this game, but I'm going to stick with ULL here, 27-24.
Yeah, they've had an interesting turnover at the quarterback position. I think that a lot of people expected Walker Howard to be their starter this year. He is a ex five-star quarterback that transferred from LSU to Ole Miss and then from Ole Miss to UL Lafayette, and he did not pan out, unfortunately.
I think he got injured like 3 games in or something.
Yeah, that sucks. I think I got to meet him. I don't remember what game it was. I don't know. It was when we rushed the field. We rushed the field, and I was smoking a cigar. And a bunch of the players were passing around. I think he was one of the players that took my cigar, but he seemed pretty cool. Watching the season, Ole Miss does that every year. He got featured on it, and every time he came on, he just seemed like he really just enjoyed being there, even though he wasn't getting to start. You rarely ever see that from backups. Like genuinely, they've always got a smile on their face. They're supporting the starting quarterback. They're supporting the team and having a good time. He just looked like he was having fun, man. And I wanted him to succeed. He seemed like a good kid. Just pan out for him. I hope he gets another chance somewhere. But Lunch, the starting quarterback for Louisiana now, and we'll see if he feasts against Delaware, gets them a win in the bowl season. Next, we've got Missouri State taking on Arkansas State in the Xbox Bowl. I have Missouri State taking this one 37-24. We just talked about Delaware being a newcomer to the FBS. We also have Missouri State getting to 7 wins already on the season as a newcomer. They've played some exciting football. Offense is really good. And Arkansas State's just been so inconsistent. We just don't know what we're going to get with Jalen Rayner and company. So I just don't feel confident about them in this game.
Yeah, I mean, those are probably the two best players on the field, but just the way they've been all year, like with those two guys, still only like 6-6. Feels like they've been the same team every year with Butch Jones as their quarterback, too. I want to take Missouri State as well.
Yeah, Butch Jones has always been a guy that when I see him on the sideline, I just cannot stop thinking about that one time when they lost to Alabama and they asked him, I can't remember what they asked him, but something about like how he felt about not being SEC champs this year, not being able to compete for it. He said, we may not have won, but we're the champions of life. And I just was like, only Butch Jones would say that after getting a beat down from Alabama.
What about the time that Oklahoma beat him when he was at Arkansas State? They got beat 77-0, and he cried after the game.
Oh, that was so funny. His face was so red.
This
He
is
gets
horrible.
red as a bell pepper when they lose, and especially and stuff like that. He's just a character, man. Like it is funny to see him in college football. It's like Ed Orgeron. Like he's kind of a nut job, but he's also like kind of a good coach. And I'm honestly surprised there are players that enjoy playing for him. But at the same time, he's fun to watch. So it's just an interesting situation to watch over there, considering the fact that he's had so many chances at so many places, and now he's at Arkansas State, and they're just not good. So I don't know how much longer he's going to stay there, but I always have fond memories of all the different crash outs from Butch Jones over the years when he was at Tennessee and even now at Arkansas State. He's definitely a piece of work, but I just don't think that those Red Wolves have a real chance against Missouri State to be possibly even competitive. I think it might be more than the spread that I had it on. I had it as 37-24. It could be worse.
I had it 28-25.
I mean, Missouri State's offense is good. Arkansas State's defense is horrible. So if Missouri State can play defense in this game, they're gonna find a way to score points. So I'd love to see them get their first bowl win.
Missouri State's coach did leave and take the Coastal Carolina job, by the way.
Oh man, and I have coaching departures as a side note on all of these games, and I didn't put one on that. I forgot about that one. That might impact this game a little bit, but that's to be expected when you have success at the lower level. You're gonna get promoted somewhere.
I think they'll be all right in this one, though.
Should be a fun one. Expecting a lot of offense there. Next, we've got Kennesaw State taking on Western Michigan in the Myrtle Beach Bowl. Both of these teams won their respective conferences, so pretty heavyweight Group of Five bowl matchup. I'm taking Kennesaw State 27-24. I think Amari Odom's going to get it done here. But Western Michigan's got a stout defense. Quarterback run game has been really solid for them as well. They're a good football team. I mean, they played some Power Four teams this year and gave them a run for their money. I think that it'll be really close. I would love to see Kennesaw State get to 11 wins this season after having a absolutely horrific season the past 2 years. Would love to see them get a big win here to get to 11 wins for the first time and maybe one of the only times in their school's history.
This game's kicking off at 10 a.m. on Friday, by the way.
It's just crazy.
Absolutely ridiculous. Western Michigan has played a tougher schedule than Kennesaw, despite having one less win. I feel like they are slightly the better team in this one. I'm going to take them 24-20 in kind of a defensive battle, and the run game for Western Michigan is going to be the difference.
Yeah, Western Michigan's run game was really solid in their conference championship game. They had a really good outing, and I don't expect that to change necessarily against Kennesaw State, but if they can't find a way to move the ball in the passing game, I think that'll probably hurt them here.
Got to watch out for Amir Odom on Kennesaw State, though.
He's a stud. He's an absolute stud. It was fun watching him this season. All right, next we got the Gasparilla Bowl. Memphis takes on NC State. I expect a lot of offense in this game between C.J. Bailey and then we got Brendan Lewis at Memphis. Dual threat quarterbacks. I think there could be some masterclass performances here in this game, at least from one of the quarterbacks. I think NC State probably has the edge here talent wise, slightly. So I'm going to lean them 41-38 here, but I don't expect a lot of defense in this one at all. We have the coaching departure of Ryan Silverfield from Memphis, but other than that, I feel like most of these teams are pretty intact here. I think we'll see a ton of points.
Memphis really squandered a chance to do something special this season. Had the good win against Arkansas early in the year, despite Arkansas not being good. I mean, it's always a big deal as a G5 team to win against a Power 4 team, especially an SEC team. But they somehow went 8-4, lost some games down the stretch. This has kind of been how they've been with Ryan Silverfield, and then him leaving. A lot of their fan base wasn't even upset about that. I think NC State's just a better team here, and I have them winning this one 34-28.
Yeah, I see a scenario where Memphis pulls this one out. Brendan Lewis is a great quarterback, and they've got a lot of weapons on offense, but I just think NC State. I think that they can really put the yards up. We saw what they did to Georgia Tech later this season. They could not be stopped in that game. I think we see a similar scenario here where Memphis basically has to score every drive to stay in it, which will be fun. Love a good shootout.